Pullman observation car that was, its history, it's Pullman, it's everyone what Pullman is or was, and it's the coat of arms of the Pullman Car Company on the bulkhead there. It was originally an American company, that's why they're known as Pullman cars, not carriages. And the notion was you paid a supplement, and for that to sit in a Pullman car, and for that you had the choice of having an a la carte meal, and you sat in extra luxury. If you've seen the Orient Express, they are Pullman cars with the armchairs, the tables, the little ormolu lamps, the curtains at the windows, all the marketing panelling. In fact, some Pullman cars were reserved for the royal family. Some of the famous Pullman cars were like the Devon Bell, the Brighton Bell, the Bournemouth Bell, the Tees Time Pullman and such like. And but this car predates Pullman ownership. It was built in 1918 as a First World War ambulance car to get wounded troops back to from the front line to the UK. And it didn't look anything it looks like now. It looked like a dormitory on wheels, effectively. And then after the First World War ended, they were put into store. They weren't needed anymore. And a batch of them were bought by the Pullman Company in 1921 as an eye for a bargain, and they were converted into what they call standard Pullman cars, which again, not what it looks like now, but as the cars you see on the Orient Express with tables and chairs and such like. And all was left of that ambulance car was the frames and the wheels. So those bits are 100 years old this year. Wow. But after the Second World War, there was austerity and rationing. In some ways, it was worse than during the war. And there was petrol rationing, and there was food rationing. So if you wanted to go on holiday, the only really way to go was by train. And if you had a meal on a train that didn't cost you any more than 5 shillings, you were exempt from rations. So with that sort of market in mind, the Pullman Company with the Southern Railway introduced the Devon Bell, which was a all-Pullman holiday express from London Waterloo to Ilfracombe, which took 5.5 hours steam hauled. And the advantage of that was you had a pre-bookable Pullman seats. You could have a meal on the train, which were exempt from rations, and obviously you got on holiday because you were going by train. And the other attraction they wanted for the train was to have an observation car at the back, so people could have their meals at the front of the train, come out here, have their gin and tonics and their cocktails, and sit here and do their royal waves as they went through the countryside of Dorset, Somerset and into Devon. And this coach was rebuilt in 1947 to this sort of like greenhouse on wheels at that time. You couldn't pre-book seats on the Devon Bell observation car. It was free seating for first and third class passengers, but allegedly the seats were cunningly designed to give passengers a crick in the back after 30 minutes. So there would be a constant move around, people wouldn't hog the seats. The Devon Bell lasted as long as austerity lasted, and by 1954, with lack of patronage, we moved into like you never had it so good years and such like. The train was withdrawn. This coach, the observation car, was sold on to the Scottish region of British Railways, where it was used for observation car duties on the lines between Fort William and Mallaig and Oban. And it lasted that for until 1968-69, when it was sold on again to the owner of the Flying Scotsman, who was taking the famous engine to the United States as part of a trade train, and he wanted a set of coaches to go with it, including an observation car. So he bought this car, and then in 1969 it was shipped over to the States, where it spent the next 3 years travelling thousands of miles from East Coast to West Coast, where in 1972 it ended up in San Francisco, where the operation went bankrupt. The famous engine was rescued straight away and was repatriated, but the coaches, including this one, were all stuck over there. And it was ultimately bought by a bar owner in San Francisco, who had it converted into a novelty bar and built into a building. The wheels were set in concrete, the seats had all been ripped out by that time, a hole was cut in the side, and it lasted in that form until about 12 years ago, when the Swanage Railway heard that they didn't want it anymore and it was in danger of being chopped up. So it was given to us for free, but £60,000 later it was repatriated back to the UK, and restoration began. The seats are faithful replicas of the original, £1,600 each, with or without the crick in the back. So now the coach has an honourable retirement, doing what it was always planned to do, which is take happy holiday makers to the seaside, in this case Swanage. I've got here an original Picture Post article from 1947, where the Devon Bell was introduced, eBay $4.99, and you can see how the fashions were, you know, how we brought the coach back into its original condition. There's the bartender in the uniform like I've got on now, and halfway along the journey someone would come along and clean the windows at the back. Well, I love you lots, but I'm not doing that for you today. Sorry about that. So, hope you enjoy your time with us today. If you'd like a souvenir postcard of the famous coach you're in, like this, I've got them for sale at 40p each if you want to buy a postcard as a memento of your trip with us. But thank you very much, and on our way back I'll be coming to pick up the supplements, and I still have orange juice or Bucks Fizz left if anybody wants a drink on the way back. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.